Hi, fellow cohort students. Brandy Dunnell here. This is my video reflection on the 4 reading comprehension videos that we watched using the 4-3-2-1 strategy. So we're starting off with 4 key concepts or definitions. One concept that I thought was cool was comprehension strategies should be taught early on. So we should be teaching these in our lower L grades, and this will help our young readers grow into effective, strong readers. Another one was monitoring. So just kind of checking for understanding throughout the text. So as we're reading, we're pausing and we're saying, did I understand that? We're sort of reflecting and monitoring to make sure that we're pulling all of the meaning out of the text, understanding it correctly. And another concept that was new to me, transitional strategy instruction. So the definition of this is teachers model strategies using a think aloud and help students to practice. So that's kind of cool. I didn't realize that had a name. I think we do this a lot as teachers. So we model what it is, the strategy that we want our students to use, whether we're giving instruction and then modeling, or we're just kind of modeling and then walking them through it. So that's called transitional strategy instruction. I thought that was pretty cool. And my 4th one was reciprocal teaching. So this was also one that I believe that I've seen before, but didn't realize it had a specific name and a specific goal. So reciprocal teaching, and the goal is to prepare students to lead their own discussions of the text. So this would look like a teacher with a group, probably a small group of students, and the teacher is sort of walking them through the text and leading in discussion. They're asking questions. What are we? So they're doing a little bit of modeling too. What are we going to learn? I predicted this, or what is this word? So they're leading the discussion, and then they sort of pass that off to the students as they go. And so the goal is to help our young readers build those skills to be able to lead discussions and think deeply about the text. So moving on to number 3, specific and observed lesson characteristics. One thing that I thought was really cool, gradual release of responsibility. That's sort of how they defined it. So when the teacher is teaching a new strategy, what this looks like is the teacher will teach the strategy, and then there will be the modeling of the strategy, and then the guided practice. So they will guide their students, usually in a whole group setting. They will work them through it. And then they support as they sort of are working through it. And then they are kind of on their own. So they're broken up either into small groups or individual, and they're given some kind of activity or task to do along using that strategy that was just taught. And so they're independently working, but the teacher is there to support. So that was called a gradual release of responsibility. I thought that was cool. That can be used in all subject matter that we teach, and in all grades too. I thought it could be applicable. And then the next one was think aloud. So think aloud is something that I think as teachers we sort of naturally do. We're kind of always modeling and demonstrating and giving our thinking words to help our young learners understand and learn from what we're doing. We're not only modeling it, but we're giving it words and we're laying it out for them. So in reading, I thought that was kind of cool how they applied it. So the definition they gave it was demonstrate your thinking out loud to your kids. So it's just what it is, think aloud. So I'm reading a book and I wonder who that character was. I can't quite remember. And I flipped back. This was the example, and she flipped back, and then, oh, that's right, that was the little sister. And so building on, I wonder how this is going to play out. Or so just model your thinking out loud. I think that is really, really cool. Like I said, we do it all the time as teachers, but applied specifically to reading is pretty cool. And then another thing that I think was a characteristic of most of the lessons that I was seeing taught was peers. So the students, a lot of times when we get to that guided practice part or that independent work part where the students are practicing a strategy on their own, they're paired up with their peers, or even just individually, if we notice that one student is struggling, a lot of times we can pair them with a peer who seems to have grasped that strategy or is a little more well-versed in that strategy. So peers are one of the great pieces that I've seen built into a lot of lessons, and especially in some of these reading videos. They pair the students up and then allow that peer who has a more stronger grasp on that strategy to kind of help, because students do learn They learn very well from their peers. So moving on to number 2, examples of resources used. And here too, again, peers. Peers is a resource. Peers is a huge resource. We know that students learn from their peers. So that's a resource that we can tap into. We can say, this kid has this figured out. This kid is a little more fluent in this area, so I can use him as a research to support maybe a struggling student. So peers is a great one, and kind of bundled into that is teachers too. We can use our teachers that are reading experts. In the videos, they had pulled in some reading expert teachers that worked with smaller groups. So in our school, and probably most of the schools you all work in, we have like a resource room. So our resource teacher is she's great. She does small groups. She's a big support. That is a resource that we have to help us with reading comprehension, all subject matter, but definitely with reading comprehension. And then another resource that was specifically named in the videos was list of children's books award winners. So this kind of resource, oh my goodness, this resource is literature. So just do some research, look through, find that really quality children's literature that's been given awards, authors that have written some really meaningful text. So great resource, text literature, quality literature. And then finally, moving on to one word to describe the essence of what you viewed. So my word is involved. Reading comprehension, teaching reading comprehension, modeling. It's very, very involved, very, very involved in these younger levels. So super cool stuff. I learned some new things as I continue to do through all of these courses, make a lot of connections with what I've already learned, what I do in my job, and just all the new stuff. So super cool. Loved it. I look forward to reading y'all's. See ya.